Hello, and welcome to the first year of WWE's ECW, the show where we take a look back at the first 52 episodes of WWE's re-envisioning of Extreme Championship Wrestling. We kick off this episode with a recap of recent events between ECW World Champ Bobby Lashley and Vince McMahon. Last week, the ECW champ squashed Vinnie Mac's WrestleMania representative Umaga under the steel cage after jumping full bore into the cage. On the last episode of SmackDown, Vince tried to get Lashley to not represent Donald Trump in the Battle of the Billionaires match after offering him double whatever Trump was paying. Lashley refused and got a slap from the boss and told no one says no to Vince McMahon. Vince shit himself and quickly exited the ring before the champ could get his hands on him. Speaking of the devil, Chairman Mr. McMahon is here for the start of episode 38 to address the ECW crowd. Vince says that the WWE Board of Directors has decided that the special guest referee for the Battle of the Billionaires match at WrestleMania 23 will be Stone Cold Steve Austin, which gets a roar from the crowd. Furthermore, Vince tells us that Stone Cold is here tonight. Vince tries to tell us about the upcoming contract signing next week on Raw, but gets a bit flustered by the rowdy crowd.
Trump, if you so much look at me the wrong, let me say that again.
The crowd then start chanting, "You suck," to which McMahon says, "Listen Trump, that's what they think of you." Vince continues and says that if Donald Trump gets out of line, he's going to give him a billionaire bitch slap. And somebody that can tell you about that famous slap is ECW World Champion Bobby Lashley. Vince then shows the replay of the slap on SmackDown, not once, but twice to the ECW crowd. McMahon claims that earlier that day, Bobby Lashley tried to apologise to Vince backstage, to which Vince said that he wouldn't accept his apology unless he asked it in front of the Tucson crowd tonight. The champ's music then hits and Bobby makes his way down to the ring. Lashley gets on the mic and says, "Yeah, it's true, I do want to apologise to you, Mr. McMahon." Lashley offers his hand and Vince shakes it as the champ says, "I want to apologise because last week when you slapped me, I should have beat the hell out of you." The champ continues to crush the chairman's hand as he says, "If you ever put your hands on me again, I will break you in half." Lashley exits the ring as a stunned and pissed off Vince McMahon looks on. As stated by Vince in that last segment, Stone Cold Steve Austin will be here to address the ECW crowd later on. But first, it's time for our opening match of the evening as Captain Caveman Balls Mahoney takes on Hardcore Holly in singles competition. It's all Holly at the start of this match as he batters Balls Mahoney all around the ring. Things start to look up for Balls as he catches Holly with a boot in the corner and then follows up with his signature punches. Mahoney goes to the top rope but lands on his arse. Holly then takes advantage and hits an Alabama Slammer to pick up the win. And just when you think that's over, Snitsky comes in with a big boot out of nowhere and takes out the victor. The monster of ECW strikes again. Backstage, the world's worst interviewer Rebecca gets some thoughts from CM Punk about his upcoming Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 23. The interview is pretty quickly cut off by new breed leader Elijah Burke, who tries recruiting a hostile CM Punk. Everybody's favourite RVD then shows up and tells Punk that Burke can't even spell ECW. But you, on the other hand, you understand what it means to be ECW. But don't worry, Elijah, because coming up next, you're going to learn all about Extreme Championship Wrestling from an original, Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam and the Originals make their way down to the ring, hoping to get some payback for last week's loss to Kevin Thorne, thanks to some shenanigans from Burke. Elijah and the New Breed then make their way down to the ring, the bell sounds, and we're off. As I've said before, in my opinion, the New Breed versus the Originals has been one of the better consistent storylines on the show for many weeks now. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually been the only consistent storyline on the show really, excluding the Lashley McMahon feud. I can't think of one of the matches from the weeks previous that I haven't enjoyed from this rivalry, and Burke vs Van Dam was no exception. A decent and entertaining bout from both of these superstars. In the end though, this week's win goes to the Originals when RVD hits his 5-star frog splash and gets the 3 count. After the match, Tommy Dreamer gets on the mic and tells the New Breed that the Originals are not going to stop bringing the fight. Tommy then proceeds to butcher his lines before finally challenging the New Breed to a 4-on-4 match at WrestleMania 23. It's the penultimate segment of the night, and you know what that means. It's Kelly, Brooke and Layla, aka Extreme Expose, back for another spicy dance interlude. What can I say that hasn't already been said? The sex appeal, 10 out of 10. The dancing, 2 out of 10. And that's being generous. The girls dance to a hip hop track this week and pull out guns at one point. If having hot, scantily clad women dance around with guns isn't the most beautiful display of American patriotism, then I don't know what is. I hereby pledge allegiance to the hot asses of Kelly, Brooke and Layla. The glass shatters and out walks the man himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. This could be the weirdest ending to the series I've ever done, because there's really nothing much to say here. Stone Cold comes out and waffles to the crowd about the upcoming Battle of the Billionaires match that he's officiating for at WrestleMania 23. Stone Cold tells the crowd that even though him and McMahon have had a lot of history, he's going to call the match right down the middle. Austin then heads to the outside to get some opinions from the fans on who they think is going to get their head shaved at Mania, Trump or McMahon. My favourite part is when Stone Cold grabs this guy by the shoulder, and based on all the other interactions you assume he's going to ask the bloke a question. And he doesn't, he just stares at the geezer whilst continuing to give his opinions on the upcoming match. Almost like he's having a one-on-one conversation with the guy. To finish off the segment, Stone Cold says he's going to be in Washington next Monday for Raw to oversee the contract signing between McMahon and Trump. Well, I'm pretty confident that that's the first time in the series that the episode hasn't finished on a match. This episode of ECW was pretty average, I'd say, even with an appearance from Stone Cold Steve Austin. The opening segment was entertaining, and the match between RVD and Burke was good. Everything else just felt like filler. I'm going to give episode 38 2.5 stars out of 5. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.